Trollord Games. Join the fray.
Hey, Steve, will you tell Tim or talk to the crowd for just a second? Tell him I'm working on it. I mean, this is not my normal setup, so I got to figure this out. No, they can't hear neither one of y'all. Oh, wait. I think I figured it out. Yeah, hold on a minute here.
really elegant place.
It was Pizza Hut. That's
yeah,
wild.
Yeah, it
Wow.
was backwards.
Wow. Yeah.
You're in the upside down world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I mean, there's a
exactly.
lot of gangsters there too. Like, it's a whole thing is run. So ours was like American gangsters in Vegas. Well, that one is like triads and like the most hardcore, like people moving.
Yeah.
It's. I was there for 2 days and was like, gotta go. Like, I can't be here anymore. It's actually like awesome and a little scary.
That's wild.
We should totally go.
Yeah, with backup maybe. Jeez, yeah.
As long as you stay in the like casinos.
Oh, are we good?
Yeah.
I think we've got sound. We've got
Oh, fantastic! Hello, everyone. Yay!
That was a fascinating conversation. So let's just regroup then. So we are here for Ask Me Anything. I'm Steve Chenault, Troller Game CEO, and we've got a couple of guests today: Satine Phoenix and her husband Jamison Stone. Is it Jamison? Is that what I?
Jamison. Yeah,
it's a strong name.
If it kind of starts with the J sound and ends with son, you will usually be like, oh, I'll respond. Yeah.
I respond to just about any inflection in my direction. So
exactly.
But let's introduce you guys. Take it away.
I'm Satine Phoenix. I am a D&D obsessive woman who just really loves Dungeons and Dragons. I've been in the live streaming and web series world for about 13 years. I've been playing D&D for 33 years. Former community manager of Dungeons and Dragons, dungeon master of Sirens live stream that's been around for about 4 years, and the host of Game Master Tips on Geek and Sundry, and now my own Twitch stream.
And I'm Jamison Stone. I'm the founder CEO of Apotheosis Studios. We make games, art, graphic novels, fantasy novels, and just a bunch of awesome geeky stuff. I've been playing games my whole life. Really, really enjoy TTRPGs. I'm also a huge video gamer as well. And yeah, we just really enjoy kind of bringing our passion around awesome fantasy sci-fi worlds to fellow players.
I have to say, you said you're a video game player. I love video games. I don't play many of them. I mostly just play GTA because it's. I love GTA. I don't know why. Driving cars, shooting people, whatever it is. But
we don't have our vices.
Yeah,
you gotta let it out.
It's a work of art. Yeah, we're just waiting for the next one.
One of the things I really like about today's gaming environment, and we're going to dive into y'all's Kickstarter here very shortly, but is the complete blending of these hobbies. When I started back in '77, and I think in those days it was blended pretty good, but in the '80s it began to fracture, and everyone went to their various corners, and it's not that way anymore. People are just cross-platform gaming like crazy, and it's great.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things kind of going towards the Kickstarter that we wanted to make sure that we had a hold of, because we both love multimedia. Anything that is playful, we're into it. So we made sure that while we're making this book, it's available on VTTs, and not just one. We actually have multiple VTTs, and each one of them are awesome in their own right for the things that they're really excellent at. Some have fog of war, some are fully animated, and the communities. So yeah, we wanted to make sure that there was something for everyone who enjoys gaming in this, new and old players.
That's one of the craziest things. I do this panel both at conventions I go to and occasionally here on the stream, because TLG is uniquely placed. We started in 1999. So when we started, there were still blue lines. You got blue lines from the printers, went through all that stuff. And today we're having a daily discussion about whether it's Shard VTT or Fantasy Grounds or, whoever it is. So that the trajectory is absolutely, it's stunning. I mean, and you're right. You got to get everywhere because everyone wants to play the way they want to play, which is cool.
Exactly. And to be able to lean into the way that they want to play and then make your content both specific enough for them so it doesn't feel like it's just been kind of painted over whatever platform they're on.
Yeah, it's actually,
really localized for that platform as well, but still then coherent enough for your core story. And it's a balance for sure.
You're right, and that's key because you don't want to. And that's one of the things that we have so many legacy products at TLG that, and it's mostly me, I have to struggle to kind of convert it out of the way I've been doing it, over the past couple of decades, and into these new platforms that I don't particularly use that often. I occasionally get into them, but I know that so many other people do. So it's it is an interesting, mix to get all of that worked out so that everybody gets to enjoy the game however they want to play it.
Well, that's why it's important to really focus on the story. If the story is rock solid, everything else is just amplifies the story. So, you can play most of these games with paper and dice and theater of the mind, and then you have Dwarven Forge, and then you have Whiz Kids or Hero Forge minis to amplify that. Then you have your gaming table. Then you have your Sirenscape, which we also have. And so you have all these things at the game table to amplify your experience. Lighting, scented candles, food. And this is just another way to do that. So that's how we like to think about it is here is the thing that we're playing. What other toys can we make to make it more interesting?
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it. Absolutely. That's I've been doing, we do GM's Tricks of Trade over here. You and I need to have one of these where we do
Yes,
it
we
together.
do. Yes, we do.
I've been discussing how to use VTT without losing theater of the mind, where you can.
Oh man,
That's
how many
hard.
of these like
Yeah.
GM tips have I done on that?
Yeah,
It is.
It's really hard.
It is hard until
For me, at least, hard for me.
until you figure it out, and we will have that conversation because I figured it out, and it amplifies the strengths of each VTT without sucking in their attention and getting them to stop being imaginative. It's all about withdrawal, how much you take away and give them at any given time. But
Yeah.
that's a whole different
Yeah.
conversation. We
Oh,
will
let's do that, 'cause
definitely have.
That's literally what I've been talking about. I think for about 2 sessions now is exactly how to do that, because you don't want. I had a conversation with a buddy of mine, Aldo Giazzi. You've probably met him, and he loves the VTT because it just, like he was telling me, when you cast a fireball, it kills all 30 goblins, and you know who's dead and who's not. And I said, well, that's cool, but what if the DM doesn't want the goblins all to be destroyed? It needs a little bit more. There's got to be a nice, healthy mix in there, I think, somehow.
Yeah. We will have that conversation.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive. Let's do that later, like you said. Let's dive into your Kickstarter. You guys got a Kickstarter coming out on April 22nd, and it's yeah, that's like 2 days from now.
Wild.
Yeah, we tried to schedule this last week, but that didn't work either.
Oh, no, we're very appreciative.
Oh no! It's rad.
Anytime. But well, tell us a little bit about the bards.
Absolutely, yeah. So Sirens Battle of the Bards is a 5th edition adventure campaign and setting set in the just glorious city of Selvata. So we wanted to really lean into what would a bardic city look like. So if there was, our project before this was called the Red Opera, and that was a warlock city, and so it was a dark and a brooding city filled with patrons and archfey and fiends, and then clerics who were trying to kill everybody. It was glorious. And when we then looked at Sirens and tried to understand, okay, how can we lean into bards being artists, not just only musical performers, as they're sometimes portrayed classically in 5th edition and previous editions as well. But what would a city of artists be like? And so working with Satine has been absolutely fantastic on this project. And we leaned into, when you have the kind of brightest creative lights in a city like Los Angeles, you also have these really dark and deep shadows. And so we were able to kind of, on one hand, have this juxtaposition of this city of artists and kind of like a living mural and kind of
celebration.
Yeah, of life and beauty,
Yeah.
with then also people flocking to that, trying to take that for themselves.
Yeah.
And then you throw in magic and everything is awesome because it's 5th edition.
Yeah, really celebrating that, obviously we all know that bards have had a bad rap because it's usually the oversexed performer who jumps in and causes chaos. Well, I went to art school for 5 years, and that's not what bards are to me, and that's not what bards are in Los Angeles. The people on screen that are the actors, they are a fraction of all the bards that create the worlds that you see. The composers, the compositors, the sculptors, the fabricators, the hairdressers. So we're really leaning into the introverted bards and extroverted bards. It's very important to us because not everybody wants to be up front and center, but they want to be supportive to the people around them, which is a consistent idea of bards.
Yeah,
So
inspiring.
2 quick thoughts. First off, the first thing that came to my mind when you were talking about that was the Silmarillion. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Silmarillion. And
Yeah.
I've read that so many times. But at the beginning, where they're weaving the music to create the world, and Morgoth, of course, starts singing his own song. So that's sort of what you're talking about. You've got all of this art and beauty in the city, but also you've got this undercurrent in the city.
Yeah, I mean, both the good and bad guys have high charisma,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
that's just talking about the charisma bards. We actually are designing subclasses that are dex bards and intelligence-based bards, bards that don't sing at all. So we've got, I guess we could talk about that.
Sure. Yeah.
We've
Even
got
strength barbarian too.
yeah, the barbarians. But we've got the College of Geometry, and that's your intelligence-based bards using their minds to craft. They don't always sing. They can sing, but it's not. It's a different type. It's not a performance. It's a skill, right? So a lot of the things are more quiet, introverted styles. So you have an architects. You have people that can uh, maybe weave magic to bring the ground out to create structures and traps for your group to help protect them. Or you've got your College of Anatomy. That's one that we really like. Alicia Marie's joining the Sirens and is an aerialist. Now, this is a way that you don't have to use verbal components to perform. This is a master of body and master of physique. So you got your belly dancers, your break dancers, your aerialists, your bodybuilders, these people understand anatomy in a way that they don't need to use their voice to inspire other people. Because what are artists? Artists are master communicators who evoke emotion. Now, that could be a repelling emotion or attracting emotion. So if you think about your battlefield using that, it's really awesome to have these different kinds of bards. Maybe a bard just wants to sit in the back and make an origami and blow it out into the battlefield. Or maybe, Alicia Marie with her immovable rod hoop wants to latch it up, gain advantage by crawling on top of the hoop, spinning around to do her magic with her body. So we're trying to take that cliche bard that I love, but also a lot of people don't, and allow people to expand their vision of it and what the possibilities of it.
Okay, so I want to just so that I get my head around it because I've actually been having a conversation. So I've started this game with a bunch of young gamers. They're all video gamers actually, and we're playing Castles and Crusades, which of course is TLG's version of D&D. And these guys are just loving it, and it's all new to them. So they're just really tearing the books to pieces. And they got into the Bard not long ago, and we got to talking about it. And I was telling them the Bard is one of my least liked classes because exactly what you're talking about. It's always a guy with his mandolin, or whatever he's
Yodeling.
playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yodeling, whatever. And I try to tell them the Bard is more than that. They should be like, I don't know, their voice commands people. They don't have to have a musical instrument
Right.
at all.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
whole thing. You've taken that concept and really run with it because it sounds like you're turning in just about any kind of skill set, like you said, the geometry, into this is an art in and of itself. So that
Math
becomes
is an art that I really like. That's one
The
of my
sacred
favorite
geometry is
things.
beautiful. Yeah.
Sacred geometry is beautiful. Our city is designed by the grand architect, who is a College of Geometry bard, and the entire thing is set up based off of the Metatron's cube. And so in art school, these are things that you study, and it's Vesuvian man, the golden ratio. These are things that create life and create the things that you use every single day. So that's really important. You actually, his character for the Red Opera,
Geometry, yeah.
Dromedrid, we've been kind of playing with, and he is like a battle master, and
Yep.
he's so inspiring.
Yeah.
You can talk. I don't
Yeah,
wanna
so
talk about
when,
it
when
too
we were
much.
doing our pilot for the Red Opera live stream, and again, it's a warlock based city, and so I brought in a character from my book called Rooney the Apprentice, and he's a ship captain. He's very kind of gregarious and kind of showboaty, and originally we had him, but he still also uses a sword, and he's swordsman, and we had him as a rogue swashbuckling class because that's how they had sailors. It's like, okay, we'll give it a shot. But really, as the campaign went, I wrote this character, and so I have a very clear understanding of how he operates through an entire novel. he really, I was like, this guy's actually a bard. He doesn't sing, he doesn't dance, he does music, he doesn't care about that at all. But he's a commander, and he uses his voice and his presence to actually help orchestrate his fellows, in any encounter. And he also is really great with a sword, and there's nothing wrong with with leaning into that as well. And so to have kind of an orator bard and a leader bard or a CEO bard, these are
Yeah.
people who organize other people so they themselves can achieve greatness. And, you achieve greatness in the process too.
Yeah, motivational speaker bard. That's a thing.
Well, well, you think about it. I mean, any military commander, whether it's Achilles who does his own thing or Napoleon who commands, in some respect, they've got their charisma has somehow, motivated these people, and those people have made them great, even as they've made those people great, or not, depending on which direction they took it. But I absolutely love that concept because the bard really, I think, and this is the old 1970s me coming out. I liked the AD&D bard because I can't remember now. You had to go to like 7th level fighter and 5th level thief or something. So
Yeah.
when you became a bard, you actually had a skill set, a really valuable skill set, right? And then you could start doing your thing. And we kind of missed the boat in CNC on that. I don't think we gave the bard enough in CNC to actually make it, really what you're talking about. It takes it to that. I hate this expression so much, but it takes it to the next level. I absolutely hate that expression, but evolves it. We'll go with that.
Yeah, even though this is this is 5e, but it's its own setting. So you could take Salvata and put it in your setting, in your
100%.
world.
Yeah,
So
without a doubt.
we're really, I've been doing this for a long time and playing with lots of different people. We don't want anyone to feel left out. This is a book in a city made by bards, but it's not just for bards. It's like a Epcot Center. It's a theme park.
Yeah.
It's a museum, and everyone's invited. So, yes, my Vlanya character does the call to adventure for her spy group, but you could be one of her spy groups. So maybe you already have a campaign that's going on, and none of you are bards. We have come up with mechanics for you to play in this so that you can be in a band or a performance troupe. So it's like, I'm a barbarian. I don't have any performance skills, but I can hit really well. So, using your attack in order to hit that drum, that's going to be very valuable. You roll high enough, suddenly you got rhythm. Yeah, we really want everyone to feel included.
Yeah, and just to speak to that as well, one of the things that I really like of how we weave that in the story, because I'm sure that some people who really enjoy combat and are more tactics based are like joining a band, like what? I don't understand that. And so how we weave that in, I'm really proud of our creative team. Vlanya being the spy master, Savata is ruled by a divination wizard, and so he literally can, in many cases, see the future. And so, how do you then thwart a person who actually like knows the moves you're going to do ahead of you before you even do them? And so, Vlanya has been able to then kind of secretly embed the party into this city under the guise of them being a band. And so it's like she slips them in, and so you can have like a barbarian be like, I play the drums.
And almost the fact that they're not famous actually will help them in
Helps.
this adventure.
Yeah.
So,
So it's a beautiful yes and for people who are maybe not super enthusiastic on like a musical or a thing, but this is Battle of the Bards, and this the way that we've also brought combat into it and tactics of really unique epic fights.
yeah.
I don't know, for me, I love that stuff. So
Yeah, I can't think the way like people usually like when I read an adventure, I'm like, but what if this was on the ceiling? Like that would be cool. And
Yeah.
they're like, what are you talking about? But in a city of bards, yes. Also, in a city of bards, and maybe the majority of them are high charisma, good and the evil ones have high charisma. How do you like attack them? Like how do you work in a way that, and maybe you're a high charisma bard, so you have to be clever and work around other people's strengths. And that's what I hope that people learn from this as well. It's usually you go in this way to attack, and your dungeon master knows, oh, they're probably going to attack this. But what if you think around the problem? So my big thing as a dungeon master is combat is a puzzle. It's a strategy. So I might not play these like Warhammer strategy games, but I do a lot of strategy in my dungeon mastering. So smaller scale, all the way, expanded
Epic proportions.
to epic proportions. So on that vein, this is not just like our campaign takes place over a 10-day, right? Because you enter a contest, and at the end of the contest, you either make it to the grand invocation or you don't. That's up to your points. But you might only level 5 levels, or maybe 10 if you play all the DLC. But we want people to be able to play at any tier. The story has to be so strong that you can enter in at, we recommend tier 2. That gives you enough skills to play with. But you could be tier 3 or even tier 4. We believe that the story is so strong that we've created stat blocks for the NPCs in the different tiers so that you have access to that.
That's one of the things we got the NPC almanacs coming out, and some of the NPCs we did the NPC as a first level, a third level, a fifth level, a seventh level, so the DM can take it and run whatever level you're running.
Exactly.
That's interesting.
Without having to calculate it, because that's my big thing is I want a book. I'm a
Right, you want
graphic
it right
designer.
there, right at your fingertips.
I want everything to be easy. I'm going to turn a page. I have
Mhm.
zero patience. I want to turn a page, know what I'm looking at.
Me
He
too.
just sees it, he knows. Right? So, being
I got to get to it and go, because it messes up my story. When I'm
Exactly.
running the story, if I got to stop and read, and it's one of the reasons I want
Yeah.
these really complicated monsters, because they've got like 12 abilities. I'm like, I'm not reading all that. I'll do my own thing.
Yeah, so as a graphic designer, I'm helping the layout artist really organize the book visually. So it's like I know that if I see this, this is what this is. Here are the different things. We don't have one stat block, and then you have to calculate what a tier 3, a tier 4 is. It's no, here is your tier 2. Here is your tier 3. This is your tier 4.
That's very good. I mentioned earlier, one of the things I'm having to fight with myself from legacy projects is that very thing, is how we're laying out, because it's different now, and there's the medium's different, everything's different. So I'm having to retool my old dusty.
No, but that's good. You always want to evolve.
It's been actually really really amazing for me to watch Satine go in with our artists, our layout artists, and like myself as as a writer, I kind of sit back in a lot of the art meetings. And I'll go and I'll share it, but Satine, you went to art school for 5 years. You're such an amazing artist, and your wealth of experience in dungeon mastering is just it's intimidating to say the least. But to see the way that she is able to help organize information on the page, and we've really from the ground up redesigned how we present that, both taking advice from the luminaries currently in the field, but then also just really leveraging Satine's experience. And I'll say when I look at this page, I'm like, oh my gosh, like all of the information that I need is right there, quickly, easy to digest, exactly as you were saying. So you don't have to just make stuff on the fly because it's easier to do so. You want it to be easy for you, the game master, to actually lean into the awesome abilities and effects of this legendary monster or mob.
Yeah, and we don't want to intimidate new dungeon
Totally.
masters,
Yeah.
Like we want to make it easy for everyone that's new or experienced. Yeah, Jamison's an amazing writer, and between like creating this has been awesome because his imagination is so like beautiful, and to organize his writing style and my graphic design style, and then the two of us going forth
Yeah.
and sharing that with our writers and artists, it's been the coolest experience.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being anything other than a fantastic project. I mean, I know you set team for a long time. I've seen your graphic novels, all of it. I mean, you've clearly got the art, and you've definitely got Jamison. You've definitely got quite a bit under your belt. So I can't imagine this being anything except awesome. And I got to tell you, I'm loving this approach to bards because it kind of takes a class that's like you said, people they want to like it. They just can't.
They can't. And I know it's painful. I remember when we were first, months and months and months and months ago. We're like, oh, we're doing a bard book. People were like, at first they're like, why would you ever? And they're like, oh, to actually really lean into like uplift that class up to have it fulfill its full potential.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people are putting out really dark things. I mean, the Red Opera
Yeah.
is dark.
Yeah,
it's sexy.
I mean,
it's dark.
we have literally a warlock covered in blood on our cover.
Beautiful.
And it's perfect.
Yeah,
For warlocks, it's perfect.
It's perfect. But with Sirens, Sirens is a live stream show where we've done 3 seasons. It's actually back on Friday, the day after we launch, for another season. my whole purpose is, and the world exists outside of us and however it wants. But when you come to us, you're going to get PG-13, no cursing. You're going to get uplifting content. You're going to watch players actually support each other. We reward them for working together with, there's a D&D, there's a help action, but in ours, we have triple advantage. So if 3 or more people work together, they get triple advantage, and they might get bonuses to their hit dice roll, their hit dice. So it's just so important to show people how to work together. So we've planted like mechanics into the game to say, okay, so Dungeon Master, you have no idea how to get people to work together. Here it is. We're showing it to you.
Try it. Yeah, absolutely. They're gonna want that extra bonus when when they're rolling it out.
Yeah.
Every time we do a session 0, when Satine goes and I'm planning, I'm like, okay, guys, triple advantage is a thing. We got to think about how we're going to work together every single time. And it works. It's great. And it always encourages the fellow players to really work together. And it plants that seed in their mind that, if I can either be like a solo adventure and just, get my one moment to shine with my special ability, or I can leverage that ability to assist, and we can then all work together as a group. And that's the beauty of TTRPGs, in my opinion. That's why we're here playing with other people.
When I first introduced triple advantage, I remember this was D&D Meltdown like 8 years ago, and they were like, oh, okay, I had a dungeon master 14 people at a time, because back then there just weren't many dungeon masters at a game store. So it was like 14, 15, sometimes 20 people. I'm like, how do you speed up combat? How do you keep people engaged? Well, you have them actually respond and listen to each other. So here we had 10 people, 14 people playing, cut the time in half, because now they were all working together, like 2 and 2. They would get really wrapped up into it, and then they would show me how they would do it. I'm like, okay, explain this to me. One person would get down, the other one would climb on their back, and then they would make the move. And I'm like, this is awesome. Then it expanded to 3 people working together. Now you got a 14 player table, and 3 of them are off over here, and 3 are over here, 4 are off over here planning their thing. So instead of having 14 people going, you have chunks of scenes happening, and it's actually a really nice way to organize mass combat.
It actually, when you can, and I'm just getting these young guys I'm playing with, I'm getting them now to tell me what they're doing. When you swing your sword, tell me what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve, and they're slowly getting into it. And as you know, when your gamers do that, it makes everything go faster. Everything just goes much smoother, just because they're into it.
Yeah.
They're not competing or whatever it is. So I got to say, this is interesting that the bard concept, that you're taking a very light approach to it, and I mean as in a good approach, positive attitude and all that. Because I want to tell you both, I go to Facebook. I don't go to Facebook often because it can get very contentious over there. But when I go to Facebook, I always check you guys out because you're always so positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife called me what did you call me? A tiresome optimist. So
I love it.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, we
man.
got to shirt that.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
great.
right there with you.
Well,
Yeah.
much like, so in this city, we put a lot of our heart into it, and both of us come from very troubled childhoods. There's a lot of dark, and when we met each other, we couldn't believe that there was another beacon of light out there.
Yeah, despite all of that pain and suffering, instead of inflicting that on other people, really trying to actually model a way of being positive.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
deciding like about 10 years ago, I was like, I could go in this direction and my life could be real dark, or I could be the role model I always wanted. And
Yeah.
so I just shifted everything. My whole life changed. And so when we met, I was like, so tell me about your company. He's like, well, I want to, put light into the world through gaming. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
How amazing. And so we really lean into like the love we have for each other, all the troubles and the obstacles that we had to overcome. We've kind of put that into the city, right? Each disc is created every 100 years, and they kind of celebrate. There's 2 points of that. They celebrate all the obstacles they had to overcome, and they build these statues. So like the bottom of the disc has these murals that express the troubles that they had and the stuff they had to overcome, and the art on top is a celebration of them actually celebrating the leap of faith they had to
Achieving that.
achieve that.
Yeah.
So that was what we had. That's what I like to do in my D&D games, where it's like, all right, Sirens, you're all super happy. I'm going to crush you a little bit. And that rock that crushed you, you're going to climb over it, and you're just going to be so much more, together and positive. And it works.
That's fantastic, though, because we need a little bit more of that. We need
Yeah.
more of that without a doubt. All right, well, we're going to have to cut this one short, guys. I know that we had some sound issues, but my daughter's giving a presentation here in like 9 minutes, I think. So,
Aw.
so I got to go dive in and watch that. But I want to thank Satine and Jamison for joining me today.
Two
do we have
2
any-
days.
What time is it? In the morning? or-
Right in the morning, yeah.
7,
Yeah.
8 a.m., 7
Yeah.
a.m.
Yeah.
Pacific, I
Yeah.
believe. So thebardbook.com.
Yeah, and the best way for people, if you go to the bardbook.com right now, it'll go to our Kickstarter pre-launch page, and people can click the green alert me button, and then they'll get an email when we launch. So they can go right there right now at thebardbook.com and
You
click that
definitely
green
sign
button.
up for that. If you haven't, go sign. It makes it so much easier.
So much easier.
Yes.
Yes, Chuck.
We're doing a
We're doing a
giveaway.
giveaway. What are we doing, honey?
We're doing a giveaway of a PDF of the Red Opera, our Warlock book that just is released. Yeah.
Yay.
All right, winner. Who?
Show my patron.
Yeah. So, well, check it out. So Satine is
I'm a patron.
is a patron in our Warlock book. Pretty.
I love it. It was a surprise.
Yeah, it was.
I'm the patron called the Mother of Mirrors.
And the Mother of Mirrors
Nice.
features in.
Yeah.
There she is.
Oh, very cool.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was David Granjo, our artist.
David Granger did a fantastic job.
Our director. David Granjo, everybody. Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a troll
We're
lord.
drum roll.
Willie the
Willie
Rat.
the Rat.
Congratulations, Willie the Rat.
You got a PDF.
A PDF of the Red Opera. So epic Warlock adventure. Yeah.
There's 20 adventures.
20 adventures. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 320 pages.
That's
Bunch of new
massive.
Warlock subclasses. And entire.
Does the Red Opera go with the Battle of the Bards, Sirens? Is that
So they're kind of like adjacent cities. They're not next to each other. We really wanted to have them almost feel like if you want them, they could be close by, and you could go literally from the Red Opera and then port right into Sirens Battle of the Bards, or you could run it in your campaign, the new one that you were mentioning too. You could even take it. It's written in 5th edition, but you can switch it up into a
super
different set.
easy.
We just want to create these worlds.
I'll have to get into both of these and port them into the world of air. We're doing some Planescape stuff this year. It would be great.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Keep it all
Sirens and Salvata is an oasis.
Yeah.
So it's a city in the middle of the desert
Yeah,
that just kind of got built, and it's you got to trek there. You got to really want to go visit, and you were rewarded when you do.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one's in the far north where people can make patron packs much easier. So anybody can take a patron pack. So we want to just lean into unique aspects. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I'll get the PDFs and dive into it. We'll weave them in one way or the other, and minimally just promote the living crap out of it. So
We'll send you guys a physical copy, and so you can enjoy it. It'd be our pleasure. Yeah, we'd love to have you take a look.
And if
enjoy
anyone wants to, we're actually giving away a sample of the first chapter and some a bunch of other pages of the Sirens Battle of the Bards, including on launch day we have a sample of the Sirenscape sound pack for chapter 1.
Yeah.
So you get the sample playtest and audio.
I grew up in the era of video games where there was a demo for everything, and you even get like the demo discs. Like that was like a big deal for me. So I love trying things before I buy them, and so we've included demos for our games and play tests. So yeah, we're excited for people to enjoy it. Yeah.
Cool.
Good deal.
Excellent.
All right. Well, hit the websites, folks, and I'm going to head out. Satine, Jamison, thanks for joining me today.
It's a pleasure. Hope to talk again soon.
Bye.
Yes, definitely.
Welcome to the home of Trollord Games on Twitch TV. We are the madcap publishers of Castles and Crusades, Amazing Adventures, 5th edition roleplay, plus many other RPGs. Join us weekly for promotional videos, giveaways, and live shows such as Stephen Chenault's Ask Me Anything and his renowned GM Tricks of the Trade, as well as miniature painting, product updates like the World of Arid on World Anvil, live tabletop games, and much, much more. Just give us a follow to be notified when we are live. Troll Lord Games. Join the fray.